Hi everyone, welcome back. My name's Tisdale. I'm a part-time reseller, and today we're going to do What Sold Wednesday. So this is where I go over what has sold for me on eBay and Poshmark in the past 7 days. Those dates are going to be Monday, April 10th through Sunday, April 16th. To just jump right in, I sold 17 items total. 11 of those were from eBay. Yes, that's right. You heard me right. eBay, I sold 11 items. I think last week I only sold 12 with both platforms. So I sold 11 items on eBay and 6 on Poshmark. And I'm going to go over a little bit right now on my theory as to why my sales have all of a sudden increased on eBay. If you're not interested in hearing that, I'll put the time up here of when I just kind of start going through actually the items that sold. So what is my theory as to why my eBay sales have all of a sudden started increasing or picking up? Well, a couple months ago, I was looking through data and realized that I had 2 items within the past 12 months that I got an INAD for. And as most of you, I'm sure, are aware, it means item not as described. And those are really bad. I'm not really sure how I missed that I had 2 of those. But I contacted eBay and basically they couldn't do anything because it was over 90 days. So they wouldn't remove it or even really talk to me that much about it. And I didn't care too much about it at the time because my sales were still consistent. I wasn't really seeing a setback. So I just, let it be. Well, fast forward to either January or February this year, I had a return and it was an INAD. The color was different than what the customer was expecting. So they submitted an INAD. I did contact the seller and ask them would they mind revising, that I was pretty clear in the description of what the color was and what to expect. And they said they would, but they never did. So I reached out to eBay and was told multiple times that it wasn't affecting my account. But we all know that that is not the case. INADs are bad and they're not a great, probably the worst defect on your account or one of the worst. And if you've been following me for the past couple months, you'll know that my sales have been very low to what they used to be or usually are on eBay. And yes, my sales have been a bit slower on Poshmark too, but not to the amount that they have on eBay. And they kept reassuring me, eBay that is, kept reassuring me that the item not as described was not negatively affecting my seller rating. With the recent added INAD, that makes 3 in the past 12 months. So 3 in the past year, which is how long they kind of stay on your account. And the very first one, or the oldest one, was April 13th, 2022. So today's date is April 17th. And that means that the one on the 13th fell off. Now, if I pull my report, it's still there, but technically whenever it refreshes or eBay redoes the report, that's gonna fall off. And as I go through these sales, you'll see that the majority of the sales, all of them except for 2 of my eBay sales, happened on or after the 13th. So what do you guys think? What do you think I should do? What would you do? Reach out to eBay, just let it go because sales are starting to pick up. My concern with that is what if I get another one? It happens. It's rare, but it happens. And if that happens again, my sales will dip again. So what do you guys think I should do? Okay, enough of all of that. Let's jump into what you guys are here for, which is what has sold for me in the past 7 days. On the first day, Monday, April 10th, I had 2 items sell for me, and one of those was on Poshmark and one was on eBay. The item that sold on eBay are these Bryn Walker yellow cord pants. The corduroy was very like a light fabric. It wasn't a heavy corduroy, and they were very wide leg. Bryn Walker is one of my favorite brands to sell. It's one of the lag and look brands. And they just sell very fast, very consistent, not for a ton of money, but if you can find it at a great price, they can do very well. These I bought for $4.69 and they sold for $37.65. And they sold relatively fast in about 45 days. The only item to sell on Poshmark was this really pretty Urban Outfitters like yellow seashell dress. It kind of crisscrossed in the back, and I really wanted to keep it for myself, but I mean, if I'm being honest with myself, I would never wear it. It would just sit in my closet. So I did list it, and I bought it for $10.79, and it sold for $36. I did have this item for a bit longer than I would like, so 290 days. But again, I kind of held pretty fast to what I wanted as far as what I wanted someone to buy it for, because I was considering keeping it for myself. But glad I did let it go, and happy to see it find a new home. On Tuesday, April 11th, I only sold one item, and it was on eBay. And it was an item that I've had for quite some time. It was these Nike, what are they called? The Nike Victory base layer leggings or tights. I've had them for 506 days. They were new with tags, so I thought they would sell a lot faster and a lot easier, but they just weren't moving. So I did increase the promotion rate on it. I believe I increased it to what was suggested, plus or minus 2%, which is kind of what I have been trying to do with my items that just are not moving or I've had for over a year. These I did pay $10.10 for, which looking back I feel like is a little bit overpaying, even though they were new with tags. But they did sell for $33.54, and that does include the shipping. I do have the buyers on eBay pay for shipping. In the future, I'm not sure I would pick these up for $10.10, even new with tags. I believe they're kind of a crop style, which is something I do kind of stay away from unless it's a really sought after brand like Vuori or something. If it's a crop legging, I tend to stay away from that kind of style these days. The next day was April 12th, which was a Wednesday, and I sold only one item. I sold it on Poshmark, and it was these Everlane 90s cheeky jeans. These are actually from my own personal closet. I've had them for, I don't know, probably a year or so, and I just wasn't finding myself wearing them, so I did list them, and they were only listed for 22 days, so they sold pretty quickly. I did pay $7.19 for them, and they sold for $39. The next day is Thursday, April 13th, and this is the day that that INAD fell off my eBay report, and I had 4 sales all on eBay. So this is what I mean when I say that I really think that INAD was playing a huge role into my lack of sales the past couple months, and something that kind of concerns me and makes me worry about, you know, if it were to happen again. So it's something I'm definitely going to focus on, and really making sure that I put the descriptors in and do everything in my power to not get an INAD. The first item that sold was this Free People green 1-button blazer. I did have this one for a bit over a year, and I did think it was going to sell a lot faster, even it being Free People, just because of the style, and jackets tend to do better with Free People still now, at least for me. But I did notice when I got home, of course, that it had a small, I don't know, kind of like a light bleach stain. It wasn't that noticeable, but obviously don't want any INAD, so I'm definitely going to put that in the description. So, you know, it did have it again for a little bit over a year. I paid $10.34 for it, and it sold for $35.94. This next item, I'm not sure why I picked it up. I don't know if I saw somewhere that this style could do well. Anyways, it's these Nike, it's like a skirt with leggings underneath that's all attached. I'm not sure what the proper name for that is. I think I called them skirted leggings. I just had never seen this style or picked it up or tried it, so I did. I picked it up for $6.29, and it sold for $14.85. And it took 194 days. I think it's pretty obvious that this is one that I would not pick up again. I did have it listed for a little bit higher, probably like $25 to $29, but there really wasn't any interest being shown on this. So when I got an offer, I accepted. The next item is another item that I had for a bit over a year, probably about 14 months. And it's these 3.1 Phillip Lim pants, I guess you would call them. They're this white capri or crop style. I think it had like a little flare at the bottom. Obviously I'll pop it up right here. Picked them up for $5.39 and they sold for $20.40. It's sitting this long and selling that low, I wouldn't pick these up again. I do have another pair, they're striped jeans from this brand that they used to do pretty well. I feel like once a brand does a collab with Target, it doesn't perform that well anymore. And my theory as to why that is because people who are selling the Target brand are not like identifying it as Target and the brand. They're putting, you know, Phillip Lim when it's in fact Phillip Lim times Target or collab with Target. And that kind of saturates the market and confuses buyers, and it's harder to sort for what they want. So at least that's my theory. What do you guys think? The next item is another item that I was thinking about keeping for myself, but I did have it for nearly a year, and it was these Adidas Greta shorts. They're just, you know, general running shorts. I don't really pick up Adidas, but these shorts, I think I got them at the Bends, and I was thinking about keeping them for myself, but I don't know why it's so hard for me to keep things for myself, but I listed them. I only paid $1.55 for them, and I sold them for $20.14. Next day was Friday, April 14th, and I had 3 sales. One of them was on eBay, and the other 2 were on Poshmark. The first item, or the only item that sold on eBay, was this FootJoy nylon like windbreaker jacket. I picked this up not long ago. It's been listed for 28 days, but I was hesitant to pick it up because I think it was listed at $15. I had a discount, so I only paid $14.79 for it. But I've been trying to not pick up things that are that expensive. And I think when I ran the comps for I know FootJoy can do well, but the windbreakers, I feel like the prices were all over the place. So, you know, I was kind of taking a risk. At least to me, it was taking a risk, but it did pay off. It sold in less than a month, and it sold for $54.54. First item to sell on Poshmark were these Carbon 38 leggings. They are the ones that had the like macrame on the back of the legs. Super cute detail. Carbon 38 doesn't sell as well as I feel like it used to, or as fast. I don't want to say as well, because it still will sell for good money, but I find that it's sitting a little longer than it used to. These sat for 300 days, and I did pay up for them. I paid $25.58. They were new with tags, and because, you know, this brand generally sells for over $100 if it's new with tag, but it's just not selling as well as it used to. However, I did still sell it for $85. The last item that sold on Poshmark this day were these Icebreaker merino like track pants. They were wool, and this is kind of an example of another thing to not do. And I've had these for at least 6 months, if not longer. But inside there just was a lot of pilling, and it was only in the inside, so you couldn't see it from the pictures. So I had everything, you know, took pictures, prepped, ready to go, but I was like, I want to do some shaving on the inside. So I put it in I have a bin that I just kind of put aside for things to fix, which I am trying not to pick up anything that needs fixing anymore. But as I'm sure all you are aware, Icebreaker does really well. So it's been sitting there for about 6 months or more, and I finally, you know, in the past couple weeks pulled it out and sweater shaved it and got it listed. It was only listed for 25 days and it sold. So, you know, if you're not going to fix something soon, maybe don't pick it up, or make it a priority to like not pick up anything else until you fix those things and get it listed, because it's money just sitting there. I picked these up for $6.23 and they sold for $44. On Saturday, April 15th, I had 2 sales, and one was on eBay and one was on Poshmark. The item that sold on eBay were these Derek Lam trousers. They were the 10 Crosby, I don't know, what do you call it? The Diffusion brand. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe the 10 Crosby is the Derek Lam Diffusion brand. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I had these for a whole 597 days, And I'm pretty sure this is obviously one of the ones that I have been promoting the crap out of to try to get rid of. Did only pick these up for $6.61 and they sold for $37.85. I'm pretty sure I had these listed decently high. They're Derek Lamb, but they are just these basic black trousers. It's another example of really looking at your prices, and if things aren't moving or you're not getting the attention on them, you should probably lower the price unless it's something that, you know, you're okay with sitting on. These I should have lowered sooner. And the only item to sell on Poshmark were these Diane von Furstenberg pointed toe flats. I did have these for 313 days. I feel like I didn't have them for that long. They did have light wear on them, and I hadn't really tried Diane von Furstenberg shoes before, so I wanted to give them a try. I did pay $10.88 for them, and they sold for $30. It's not something I probably would do again, or maybe I would just look at the style specifically. They set a little bit longer than I would like, especially for, you know, only $30. Then on the last day, Sunday, April 16th, I had 4 sales, and 3 of those were on eBay and 1 was on Poshmark. The first item to sell on eBay is a brand that I'm not sure I would pick up hardly anything of anymore. Or I guess I shouldn't say that. I won't look at it in the same light. And that brand is Escada. And Escada used to do really well. It used to sell fast for a high price. Maybe not fast is the word. It used to sell consistently for a high price, and that just does not happen anymore. At least for me, it just sits. And, you know, these were, you know, not something you think of when you think of Escada, so maybe that's why. They're called the Linda Slim jeans, so it was the first and only time I've ever seen and picked up Escada jeans, but they were listed for 480 days, and I picked them up for $7.02, and they did sell for $44.29. So it's not a bad flip, I think. And that's what I mean. I'll still pick them up, but I won't have it in my head, oh, they're going to sell for $75 to $100, because that's just not the case anymore. And I think that's what you have to keep in mind with some of these brands that don't sell like they used to. Free People, Madewell, Anthropology, they don't sell like they used to or for the amount that they used to. But if you can find them at a good price, you probably should still pick them up, because they still, at least for me, Free People and some styles of Madewell will still flip pretty fast. Not for as much as it used to, but, you know, comparatively to other brands, it doesn't do terrible. It doesn't do terribly. It's just we're comparing it to what it used to do, and we can't expect that anymore. You just have to be a little bit smarter for how much you're paying for it. The next item that sold for me on eBay was this Emerson dress. It was like a chambray blue, and it was really pretty. I actually thought it was going to sell a lot faster. It took 268 days to sell, and this is one I did pay up for. I paid $27.26, and it sold for $75.35. And this is one I actually thought would sell a lot faster. I'm not that mad at what it sold for. I don't know if I would pick it up for the same price again, especially knowing how long it sat for, but it's not one I'm too mad at. The next item is another item that I've had for quite some time and didn't get it listed until recently. And the item is this ATM black cashmere sweater. It's a V-neck, and it was new with tag. It was part of a pallet or a case. It wasn't a pallet, it was a case is what they call it. I bought 6 months to a year ago, and the process of processing the case, I didn't have down like I did, you know, thrifting and that whole process that I have. So dealing with the multiple quantities of different items, I just didn't have down well. At least that's why I'm assuming this fell through the cracks. But I was doing kind of an inventory check at the end of last year and realized that I hadn't listed this item at all yet. So before winter ended, I wanted to hurry up and get it listed and got it up, and it sold within 42 days. I did pay $23.69 for it, and it sold for $65.65. And yes, I would still pay up and do this whole thing again with this item. You know, it sold pretty fast. I would just definitely get it listed as soon as I got it and not keep it for 6 months. The last item that sold, and the only item that sold on Poshmark this day, were these Anthropology maroon crop. I think they're like the essential crop pants. And man, I'm glad to see these go. So these were sold once or twice on eBay and were returned because they just didn't like them or they didn't fit, even though I do provide measurements. And so I decided I'm not listing them on eBay because I don't want to deal with returns. I'm going to list them on Poshmark, have the measurements on there. If they have questions, let me know. They were in great condition. So I didn't want to deal with any returns, kept it off eBay, put it on Poshmark. It finally sold. It did take 192 days, but I am so happy to see it gone. I believe I picked these up at the bins. They were only $2.30 and they sold for $26. So this week I am doing much better than I have in weeks prior. I had a total sales of $700.02. And then after fees and cost of goods, I have a net profit of $336.05. So not quite back to what I'm used to, but it is definitely an upwards trajectory, and I really hope it continues. So that's all I have for you guys this week. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope sales are doing really well for you. And if you have ever had INADs or issues with them and seen it affect your sales, I really want to hear, your take or your story on it. It's something new for me. I haven't generally had them in the past, and this is the first time I've ever seen it affect my business the way I believe it has. So I definitely want to hear what you guys think and, if it's affected you at all. But again, thank you for watching. I really, really, really appreciate it. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. And until next time, hope you have a great week.